It's worth every second of it.
Very happy to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe your microphone is on. Steve, it is a pleasure to be sitting here with you today. I've very much enjoyed getting to know you over the years and becoming your friend. And as I expressed to the audience, this is the first time that Steve and I have actually met in person, and probably not the most conventional meeting to be on a stage like this. But Steve, I'm an admirer of yours. I'm inspired by your actions. I'm inspired by the fact that you keep putting your voice out there to get the good word out for the people. Let me ask you a question. You had a big, long political career. There were ups, there were downs. I know that public life can get the better of anyone all the time. What is it that inspired you to get back on the microphone, to run for the Senate, and to get your voice out there again for the people?
That's a big question, but I'm going to throw an elephant into the room straight up because many of you people here may not be aware. Back in 2018, I went for a trip to the United States. I'd been involved in politics. I've been a local government We need to get that thing going.
Testing.
Yeah, look at that. How's that? Is that better? I'll put it right on the lip. I should have done that straight away. I've been in local government. I've been in state government. I've worked in Canberra, and I've got to welcome Malcolm here tonight, and also Ralph Bett and all the other speakers. They've been absolutely outstanding. But in 2018, I went to the United States. Foolishly, I went to a strip club with an undercover agent from Qatar, and it was in conjunction with the ABC and also a current affair. And the bottom line is, I got splattered all over the world. We had world media on our doorstep for 3 days. We had helicopters flying over our roof. We had drones landing on our roof. I mean, I went downstairs to get a gun out and put a bullet in my head. That's how bad things got for me. And that's the real truth. The God sent is God and Jesus Christ. That's what kept me alive. My wife, Debbie, the love of my life, and all of the good people. My family were absolutely fantastic. So they inspired me to keep on going. And I had an old bloke ring me up, and he said, Steve, he said, you're looking for a long-term solution to a very short-term problem. And really, it got me back on track. But what really, really inspired me as the Australian people, what inspired me is my family, my grandkids, and I know that we can all do better. I know Australia is the best country in the world, but it's being run by incompetent fools. Let me put this to you. In Queensland at the moment, I was up in Nambour yesterday. I did a roundtable workshop up there. I do a bit of consulting on the NDIS these days, but people are paying $750 a week to rent a house. That's the average house in Nambour. Think about it. People are being driven into domestic violence, and you've got to ask yourself, what is the reason why? It's financial in a lot of ways. A husband looking after his wife and his family, and he's pushed to the edge where he just can't look after them. What's he do? You know, he gets drunk. He does silly things. We can all do silly things, but we learn from those mistakes. We move forward. We pick ourselves up, and we just keep on going forward because, as I said, best country in the world, we're letting them stuff it up, and we've got to do something about it.
Hear, hear. How important has faith been in your journey?
I love God. I love Jesus Christ, and anybody who doesn't, I think we're living pretty close to end days. I mean, you know, with what's happening over in the Middle East at the moment, it is terrifying, but they wrote a book about it a couple of thousand years ago. I'd advise you all to read it because I think you're going to need it really, really soon. And in my heart, my love is to Jesus. He kept me alive. He was there when I was at my lowest, and I'm not at my lowest anymore. I'm bulletproof these days. I don't care what they do to me. I've fought against the Australian Electoral Commission. I've fought against many colleagues in Parliament, and I'm not about to lay down and give up. I really don't care too much about politics, but I'm going to inspire other people to get involved in politics to make a difference. Like this young bloke here, he should be in politics. He really should.
Just a bit closer to the mic. And thank you very much for sharing this with us. So let me ask you, what are your plans for the future, or where would you like to see this country go? What direction?
I just want to see us do so much better than we are at the moment. You know, we have multinational companies basically running our governments, our state governments, even in local government. I mean, the developers run a lot of local governments across the country. And they do it behind the scenes. I mean, in federal parliament, I think every politician should have a brand on their back, be it Pfizer or BHP or whoever it is. You know, they're all sponsored. Let's call it what it is. I mean, there's good people. Malcolm's a good person. Ralph's a good person. You know, we've got some very good politicians, but I can count them on just 2 hands. That's not enough to win any vote in any election anytime soon. I mean, I've been fortunate to be involved in politics. I saved the green turtle on Rain Island. I produced a policy that we actually looked after hundreds of thousands of young people so that they could get involved in sport. When I was the sports minister in Queensland, I introduced medical cannabis to Australia instead of people taking opiate-based drugs. Now they have alternatives that don't kill you. I mean, you can all do that. I'm a farmer's son. You know, I came from nowhere to get involved in politics. You can do exactly the same thing. Get involved in social media, get involved in politics. Just get involved, because if you're not involved, you're not part of the solution. I love this place. It is the best place in the world. Never underestimate the Australian courage. Never underestimate the Australian strength. It's there. Think of your kids. Think of your grandkids. And if you don't, you're in the wrong country.
Hear, hear. And I very much appreciate your message, and I wholeheartedly agree. Now, I think there's probably a lot of people that want to get involved, that want to contribute something positive to our country. It's been on their mind, but they're not sure how to take the first step. What advice would you give to these people?
Well, anybody here in this room tonight, I'd ask you to inspire people. You don't have to be young, you don't have to be old. There's no category at all. You've got to be over 18, sane, and be able to afford to run an election campaign. It's pretty simple criteria, but my advice is it's about the people. You know, if you are not in politics and you're representing the people, you shouldn't be in politics. There are so many people who get involved in politics and they actually become bureaucrats. You know, they push the bureaucrat envelope day after day, week after week. They collect their check, they get driven around in a car. It's all good and well, but our country's slowly going down the toilet. When I was involved in politics with One Nation, we got offered a $50,000 bribe from the gas industry for me to shut up about the gas industry. I wasn't going to shut up about the gas industry. It's like Malcolm. He's not going to shut up about the gas industry. Ralph's not going to shut up about anything that's going on in politics. He's going to speak his mind. They're the sort of people that need to be involved. I'm happy to talk to anybody and help them get involved in politics. And I'm going to throw this elephant out into the room. And I shouldn't use the word elephant. This one. We need a really wealthy philanthropist who's going to get behind all of the right-wing sides of politics in this country, bring them together and be one united force, because the two major parties, they have forgotten us. They've let us down.
I can get behind that. And if we have a final message to leave with the audience, with Australia, what's that message?
Love your family. Love your family. Put a roof over the head of your family. If they're being fed and being loved, you're a winner in life. Everything else after that is just, it's all cream. It really, really is, because people expect too much these days. We've got to put Australia first and foremost. We have too many immigrants coming into this country. Bang, straight up, I'm going to say it. I'm not opposed to them. I've got a Korean daughter-in-law. I love her dearly. She's the loveliest girl you're ever going to meet. I've been branded a racist too. I better let you know that. And the other things that we have to do, we've got to push back against the World Health Organization. We should not be involved at all. Number two is we've got to push back against disinformation laws. I mean, they're going to destroy people like Avi, Rukshan, me, Morgan, every single politician in this room. They're not going to let you speak your word anymore. You're not going to be able to tell the truth. The truth is super, super important. Without the truth, we're done and dusted. And the third one is a digital economy. It just can't happen. Just think of Optus. Only last week, Optus. You couldn't buy your food. You couldn't ring 000. You couldn't get money out of the bank. You know, think about it. Cash is king. It will always be king. And our country will lose its way unless every single person in this room spreads the word that we can do better. Love your country, love your family, love God. Seriously, I really mean it. And buy that book. It's called the Bible. Love you all. Thank you so much for this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Steve Dickson. Thank you, sir. We are going to go to an intermission soon, just after a short address from Gareth Rogers from Reignite Legal. He's doing phenomenal work, has done for such a long time. He's contributed a phenomenal amount of hours This night is all about the good guys in the fight. Some people think there's no good politicians. I think we know there are several here tonight. Gareth is one of the good lawyers. Please make him feel welcome. Gareth Rogers, Reignite Legal.
Hey guys, how you going? Very, very underdressed, so I'll make it up with a wonderful little speech. I'm actually going to talk about something quite boring. Louder, is that better? All right, I'm going to talk about something pretty boring actually. I've been helping people a lot lately with, they've had some pretty major problems with coming up against the bureaucratic state, which has been talked about a bit tonight. And often you kind of get into fight or flight mode, so you either want to take on the beast or you want to run away from it. I think there's actually a third way. And that third way is what would be known as incrementalism, which is a really boring topic. But what I mean by that is if you come across, if you're a subject matter expert in something, so you're a mechanic, you're an accountant, you're a builder, you'll deal with regulations every day of your life when you're doing work, and you'll be the one that knows what could be changed very simply to make life better. I'll give you an example, which is a more serious example. I'm helping a young mother who had her child taken from her because she asked for a second opinion from the doctor, and the doctor reported her child services. So within 2 days, she had a child taken from her. Now, 10 months later, they withdrew that application. So there was interim orders in place, but it took them 10 months to withdraw the application, and they never took it to a hearing. Now, the reason why they never took it to a hearing is pretty simple. They had no evidence, they had no grounds, they had no case. Now, I raised that very, very early on in the proceedings, probably, I think, within the first 2 months. And the lawyer on the other side, who worked for the Department of Child Services, basically said, oh, well, that doesn't really matter that much. That'll have to go to a final hearing, and that might be 6 months to 12 months away. Now, that's not a very good response, I would have thought, but that's the response I got. And so they've managed to get a meeting with the shadow minister that takes care of that department, but also the minister. And what we're going to do is we're going to prepare some really simple policy proposals, rather than going there just having a whinge, which they're entitled to do, obviously, and being angry and upset about it, which once again they're entitled to do. We're going to go in there also with some positive policy changes that are very minor, very easy to implement, as in a one-page bill would get it done. And we're going to try and sell it to them as in, if you run this to an election, this is going to be good for you. And if you don't want to take it to the election, we'll go see your counterpart and see if they want to. And it's a really simple thing. So that first statement that lawyer made to me, he said, well, that's going to take 10 months to get to a hearing. Well, why does it take 10 months? Well, that's because there's no emphasis on the state to bring their case to a hearing. And I think the simple amendment should simply be, you got 6 months maximum. If they don't bring it by 6 months, that's it. They have to withdraw or it gets dismissed. The other one is, I'm not sure if anyone has ever been involved in a court process, but if you put an application in, a statement of claim, and you don't have any grounds, your claim's got no merits, the other side can bring an application for summary dismissal. So it basically brings it before the court to have a really quick hearing about whether or not okay, I think, that's working. All right, so the last thing I'm going to basically say is I went to court and I said to the magistrate, oh, look, if we can't get some movement here, I'm going to have to put an application for summary dismissal in. And I was told, this is a WA jurisdiction, I was told, well, there's no such thing in this jurisdiction. Now, there is in every other jurisdiction and every other court proceeding, but not this one. So that's something that can be done on a one-page amending bill, get that changed. And that mother, instead of 10 months of uncertainty and 10 months of suffering, would have at least known that, hey, in 6 months my nightmare comes to an end, or alternatively, we could have got that dismissed in 2 months. And so it's these tiny little changes that if you ever go through something like this, if you put forward those tiny little changes and go and tell your employees, as in MPs, because they're employees, they actually work for us, if you go and tell your employees on how to do a better job, just maybe, every now and then, not always, but every now and then, they might just do it. And that's... What, sorry? Yeah, well... I'll come over and talk to you because it's the same issue in this state as well, mate. So I'll come over and talk to you. There you go. See, it's not that hard to get a meeting.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Gareth Rogers from Reignite Legal. He's one of the good guys. Go up and talk to him if you've got legal issues. We're going to go for a 15-minute intermission. Stretch your legs, grab a drink, do what you need to do, and the show will continue very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a fantastic audience. Go and have some fun. Thank you. If I could get your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Please make your way back to your seat. We have 3 more phenomenal speakers. Take a seat, make yourself comfortable. The show is not over. The show is definitely not over. All right, thank you.